Hello, friends. I go by the name of Host Eric. Some people call me the Space Cowboy. Some call me the Gangster of Love. Some people call me the host of Talking with Famous People. Regardless, one thing we can all agree on is that I, Host Eric, understand things. Oh, sure, you might say, Eric, you're not the gauge of all knowing. That's true. I'm not the gauge of all knowing. I just really understand things. A lot of people try to understand, but sometimes they don't get the difference between understanding and other things. Today we're going to help people to understand the difference between understanding and other epistemologies. And this is prompted in large part by a very strange comment by one Signor Paccadello, as they call him, namely a lexicon artist. I recently made this video entitled Love Killers, Ways to Kill Love. So, anyway, and he left this comment, which made me want to discuss this matter of differing epistemologies. Differing epistemologies? That sounds fancy. It's not that fancy, really. It's just basically a cognitive function thing combined with a mya, combined with a pya. If you combine all of those things, you end up with what I'm talking about. So here's the comment in question. I'll pull it up so that your looking eyes can look at it. Because if you're like me, you love looking at things with your looking eyes. Alright, let's take a look. I could take a look-see. You guys are both FE, so I think that CBT shit works if you both are rational types, where TI can be used to understand hypotheticals on ethics from one another about each other's personal experience. First of all, what I was talking about was not CBT stuff at all. There was no cognitive behavioral therapy stuff in what I was talking about. I was saying there are certain kinds of behaviors that are inherently unhealthy in a relationship. And they include criticism, stonewalling, contempt, and defensiveness. So basically what that's saying is if you're fundamentally unfair on one of four metrics, relationships with information in your partner basically, then that's going to be toxic. It doesn't do with CBT stuff, it's just reality. Hi there, Strawberry. This stuff falls apart with FI with no understanding of psychodynamics, projection, identification, ego, inflation, instinct, unconscious complexes, etc. If we all had perfect TI to moderate all interactions, this knowledge might work. This isn't knowledge that you have to work to do anything, really. It's just saying if you have a habit of criticizing your partner, that's bad. If you have a habit of holding your partner in contempt or expressing contempt for your partner, that's bad and not healthy. If you have a habit of being unwilling to listen to your partner when they've got complaint or critique, that's bad. And if you're unwilling to talk things out and resolve stuff with conversations, then that's bad. I mean, it's not like this video that Rachel and I made today was not intended to be at all a TI kind of video. In fact, I don't think it was. I think it was me saying we need to give FI its due as well. While I may be into criticism about public policy matters and such, it's not appropriate in a relationship to be criticizing your partner in general. Thanks, Eliana Diaz. I appreciate it. So anyway, that video was not about, in other words, TI matters. That was about ways in which toxic relationships express their toxicity, or toxic behavior in a relationship expresses. It was not about any kind of TI shit. It was much more observational TE kind of FI thing. It might turn into another weapon to justify one's own position. Well, it's true that TI can weaponize anything. But the point is, that's why I'm saying that wasn't really a TI video. Yes, if you're looking to use information against your partner, well, that's bad, right? As I said before, another way you could discuss it is simply saying, if you're taking a zero-sum approach in your relationship, that you want to win at the expense of your partner losing, if you're trying to leverage things, or force them to change in ways they don't want to against their will, if you're trying to win something, it's bad. And then he says, not that I wouldn't value knowing these metrics. In practice, people are constellations and worlds of chaos. Maybe, but it's not the case that all people are constellations and worlds of chaos that critique you, hold you in contempt, stonewall you, and or are too defensive to hear you. It's not the case that kind of complexity of individual produces some instances where those behaviors are healthy or good in a relationship. What? Is it me or you? I can see what I'm sending out. It's the bush and this thing here, and and then he says, and this is what prompted me to actually make the stream. The rest of that stuff I just thought, well, like, this guy watch the video that I made? I'm not sure. But I have to disagree with you, Eric. I believe that metaphor and simile are the greatest and most divine forms of understanding real-life processes. Like poetry, you feel you have been kissed by the gods with some little wisdom into the cosmos. Who among thinkers doesn't have the same proclivity as the poets and the artists? I mean, what video is this person watching? It's like, it's like, what are you talking about? Because it doesn't seem to be responsive at all to the video that I made. Like, I didn't say anything about not valuing metaphor or simile or anything like that. I didn't say anything of the sort, So I'm not sure what he was talking about there. But I thought, okay, well, this is an opportunity to clarify about epistemologies. So in that instance, what you see lexicon artists doing is mistaking understanding for resonance. Resonance is a thing, but it's not the same thing as understanding. And so what he's saying is, I don't want to understand things. I want to resonate with them. And that's fine, but to call that understanding is to misname it. We've got 4 different epistemologies. Understanding is the TI kind of epistemology. Resonance is the NI kind of epistemology. Attachment is the FI kind of epistemology. You might also call it significance. And familiarity is the SI kind of epistemology. So in terms of what you value as a means of quote-unquote grokking or getting, comprehending, engaging epistemologically reality, well, ideally, you have some manner of recognizing when your reflexive epistemological preference isn't adequate. So it's like, if I reflexively prefer familiarity, my goal in life is going to be to recognize when familiarity is not the best thing to employ as an epistemology, you know? So I found lexicon artists' comment strange and, I mean, to put it bluntly, I found it strange and horrible. Like, what are you talking about? What? So again, to go over those again, we're talking about understanding being TI, resonance being NI. So those are the two objective epistemologies, one deliberative and one knowledge. And then the two subjective epistemologies, attachment or significance or importance. And the other one, familiarity or proximity, you might say as well. Okay, so now it's time to pull the long riff. You're sure what they said made sense in their mind? Maybe, but it's like, it sure didn't seem to have anything at all to do with anything I said in the video. So I wasn't sure if he even watched it or... I don't know, it was confusing. I was as confused as a Confederate soldier on Lincoln's birthday. Very confused. All right. So what else did I come on here to talk about? It wasn't just that. Oh, right. I wanted to discuss another kind of interesting thing. So if I were to ask you, when you start a new relationship, what do you look for as indications that you can trust a person? Or if you were going to try to test a person, what would you do to test to see if you can trust them? Well, I mean, the thing is, each of the epistemologies produces some feeling of clarity epistemologically, something that you might call understanding, okay? But actual understanding means reducibly understood, whereas resonant simply means that you feel as though you've got greater clarity about the sort of holistic truth of things, but it's not something it's something that's kind of irreducible, right? What's going on with the electricity? Trust fall is not a good answer. So Rachel gave me the following answer. Okay, but let me finish what I was saying first of all. So if I'm an SI person for whom I use SI to understand things more than anything else, then I really understand things once I've experienced it a lot of times. And to me, that knowing it from lots of experience means feeling as though it's understood. But, you know, we don't use there's not any necessary reason why we have to declare TI to be understanding. But what I was trying to get across here is that in this particular comment, what this guy's talking about is not understanding in a meaningful way. When he says, I believe metaphor and simile are the greatest and most divine forms of understanding real life processes, that's not a way to understand them. It's a way to resonate. You know, a way to find some sort of words or media resonant. It's not a way to understand anything meaningfully, right? You might feel as though you grok it better or something, but that's not properly called understanding. What do you do when you're arguing with someone who refuses to acknowledge your argument? Get angry. That's usually what happens. Okay, so Percival says it depends. What way am I trusting them? You're trusting them because they're a potential new long-term relationship, maybe, like a romantic partner. You're trying to figure out if this person is relationship material, let's say. Strawberry says I stalk them and research them online, ask them questions to see if what they say matches up to what I found out about them. Okay. Huh. That would suggest I don't know. But when I ask Rachel a question, and maybe here's another thing, another way to phrase the question. Not so much what active tests do you do, but what telltale signs do you look for? Okay? What telltale signs do you look for? So, for example, Rachel answered the question that she'd see how the person is with their phone, basically. Like, if they're not hidey with their phone, then that means that she can probably, it's a good indication that they're maybe trustworthy, right? So if they've got their phone all locked down and they don't want to let you look at their phone, then that's a red flag for her. So that'd be like looking for a flag, one or the other, green or red. I talked to an ENFJ earlier who said that a green flag for him is if the other person remembers their like birthday or something. Now, what I took from that, which I thought was odd, was like, okay, well, it's kind of like you want to make sure the other person's going to be good to you on your polar in their engagement with your polar in ways that are consistent with your dominant. So that would make sense for both what Rachel said and that ENFJ said. So I don't know what to make of what whoever said there about researching them and then asking questions to make sure it's consistent. That would seem to have TI somewhere in the mix, but possibly SE somewhere in the mix as well. So if somebody refuses to acknowledge your argument, well, I mean, the thing is, the key thing is you don't let anything proceed forward until that argument's addressed. The problem that we all have is, or that I have, I guess I should say, I don't know if we all have this problem or not, is that when people shift ground on you, you allow yourself to be moved around to new topics and to move forward in some fashion before having your core point being addressed. You've got to prevent any further movement until you get what you want there, which is an actual position that you've stated addressed. You like when people remember little details about me? It shows they're a good listener. I remember a little detail about you. You know what it is? You spell your name in a countrified fashion. That's a detail I remember about you. You might say, but Eric, you could observe that right now. But no, I'm remembering it from a previous engagement. So I was thinking that, like, if I were to come up with the equivalent of what Rachel and the ENFJ came up with, it would be something like, I share with you my ideas, and if you don't like them, then I don't trust you. It's like sort of fairly straightforward like that, you know? Or it's possibly as simple as when I'm I guess, like, give me the time to ideate it out before passing judgment or something. I think that'd be my clearest test. For the most part, generally speaking, in my experience, people are terrible at hiding their ulterior motives. This does come with a few exceptions, naturally. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily the case that people are good at picking up on them, though. So, you could be saying people are terrible at hiding their ulterior motives, or you could be saying that you're very good at reading people, which seems it seems likely to be more correct. The other thing about ulterior motives is I've always found confusing is that I guess it's probably because I'm bipolar. It's like I can never exactly articulate what my precise motivation for something is. I'm rarely motivated by anything specific. So, and also, and also, being aware that something benefits you in some fashion is not the same thing as being motivated by that reality, right? Or if you don't play with me in my idea world, you're too boring. Well, I mean, but see, then that wouldn't be consistent because, uh, in the example, you're looking to the other person's instance of your polar to reveal something to you about whether they're trustworthy. So in the ENFJ's instance, he's looking for the proactive expression of SI by the other person to prove to him that that person is trustworthy. In Rachel's instance, she's looking for basically either, you might say, the presence of transparency or the absence of TE that's been done towards secrecy. So in my instance, it would have to be the other person's expression of FI. Playing with me in my ideal world isn't so much an expression of FI as it is NE. So I think it would be more like, you don't like what I make, or you do. But on a more complicated level, it's kind of like, you won't let me do my thing. So, like, this is something Kimberly used to prevent me from doing all the time. I would try to, like, when I realized that she had, well, being very intuitive, I'm trying to manage words for the couple. And so, last time I started with meh, it started a fight. Which means sometime thereafter, not very long after, I'm going to start with meh again, but go a totally different place, so I deconnect those two things. So I de-triggerize, basically. But Kimberly would never even let me get halfway down before to demonstrate that I'm not going there again before getting triggered by it. That would be something that made me not trust her at all, because she wouldn't let me express my idea all the way before she was judging it with her feelings. I guess it's more me recognizing the various possibilities for those ulterior motives is easy for me, and then over time narrowing it down also becomes more easy. But I mean, we can always articulate ways in which some party might benefit that's selfish, but it's not nearly so clear cut for a lot of people which individual people are actually selfish. So it's like what you end up having is people with poor FE but NI, like say INTJs or something, will tend to vastly overestimate the amount of connivingness that other people engage in. Same with ISTJs. Even though they're SI, they also, with their FE polar, they tend to vastly overestimate the amount of connivingness in our ulterior motive stuff. And they tend to see any kind of FE as being almost maliciously fake. But on the other hand, you get INFJs who also have that kind of overreach with their NI that kind of looks the same but for totally different reasons. So it's like INFJs too will overreach and assume things are motive driven that aren't motive driven. They will assume that where there's smoke there's fire, and there's only fire where there's smoke sometimes. The point is, if you're an NI type without an adequate TI or robust enough TI, then you end up prioritizing resonance over understanding. And if you're kind of prioritizing resonance and also attachment, well, then you really got yourself a problem epistemologically when you're talking about things that are actually true versus things that you feel like believing, right? If you're attached to something being resonant, that something that's resonant is true, well, then you're going to be somebody who's, and just say like Sam Vaknin or whatever. He resonates with your anger, and you're attached to that resonance, and so you think that comprises understanding, but it doesn't at all, remotely. Just like, I've never seen that. So, for example, my dramatic underestimation of the significance of Rachel's bipolar disorder, bipolar mania, is an example of me being stupid because of this subjective epistemology. Well, I've never seen it. I've never experienced it. It sounds like bullshit to me. That's a combination of understanding and familiarity. And the understanding is good. It says be skeptical of claims in general. Don't take things at face value. Don't assume that people are correct in what they're saying about shit. And it always served me well. But sometimes when I am using too much of I've never experienced it, so it must be bullshit kind of a frame of reference, then it can lead me totally astray. We can each be led astray by our combination of epistemology functions. Although one would hope we aren't led quite so far astray as poor lexicon artist here, who really didn't get that video at all, and also doesn't understand that the metaphor and simile that he's so attached to are not forms of understanding, really. They're forms of epistemology, forms of knowing, forms of belief, justifications for affirmations maybe, but not good ones. So your Wi-Fi may not hold. Are you putting too much weight on top of your Wi-Fi? Don't be the straw that broke your Wi-Fi's back. So, anywho, why is it called the point of least resistance? Don't you and I resist against our FI when we are constantly in our tool function? How is that least resistance? I think it means it's an area where we are susceptible to being abused by others. We have the fewest defenses there. So, something that took me a very long time to get about what was wrong with my relationship with Kimberly is that it's because she frequently hurt my feelings. But my tool function was constantly saying, okay, well, this is a criticism. I need to be not defensive. I want to hear what she's saying and see what can I take away from it that's legitimate critique of me and try to work on that or something, right? Because I didn't get that that having some element of a criticism that's legitimate doesn't justify having a significant other hurt your feelings. And it took me a long time to understand that that's what was going on, is that she was trying to hurt my feelings. She wasn't trying to help me in any way. It wasn't a matter in which I should have evaluated critiques like that, you know? Yeah, and also least resistance, like, no brakes on the car or you will crash. In other words, because I'm FI polar, I do what I feel like doing. I don't have a clear sense of the difference between what I want long term versus what I feel like doing right now. Like, those kind of things, you know? I'm glad Boba Fett added that in there. That helps. I think, though, the most part, my method tends to be seeing possibilities and then following them up with reserved observation. But in the meantime, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, so that's the thing. It's like there's a matter of how we operate in the world, like which assumptions we operate based on certain kinds of expectations and assumptions, versus what kind of stuff we affirm. So when Lexicon Artist is affirming metaphor and simile is the most divine ways to understand, he's saying, I don't like it when other epistemologies get in the way of my objective kind of knowledge and my subjective kind of deliberation. It's not her being malicious, it's her genuinely thinking she's right because she's blinded by selfishness. Well, I mean, the thing is, it is the case that there are times when people need to understand that and a formal acknowledgement, like, I was wrong, you were right, here's what I've learned from it, needs to be made, and that's important. How does the world abuse SI polar? The world would abuse SI polar by, first of all, requiring, for example, like, you could always exploit basically an SI polar person by putting them in situations that require them to remember details that they're not going to remember. So it's like when an ENFJ says, oh, well, I if they do things like remember something special about me or whatever, something specific about me, and I think I can trust them. What they're really saying is this person is willing to use this thing that I can't use at all and can't really understand. They're willing to demonstrate to me that they're going to use it in my favor rather than in some other way. And same thing with FI and me. Like, it's the place of least resistance because if a significant other is trying to hurt my feelings, I think it's my responsibility to parse out the parts of the critique that are legitimate and acknowledge that, rather than say, hey, I don't like it when you hurt my feelings like that, you know? Sure. Well, regardless, I think that this question of what sort of, when you're looking to see if you trust a new prospective partner or whatever, what kind of flags do you look for? What sort of a thing would be a flag for you? I think it's an interesting question, and it links in with this issue of polar. So, regardless of that, I'm considering you for the purpose of this conversation, and your answer, an ENFJ. So, like, an ISTP then would need to know that the other person's gonna use ideas and deliver and present them with ideas that they can in fact use TI on, that they're parsable ideas, that they're not just feelings about things, for example. And or that the person's expert intuition isn't going to invalidate the ability of the ISTP to deliberately draw conclusions that then stick. And there's something else interesting I was thinking about as a consequence of that time with you earlier, Al. What was it? Something else interesting I was thinking about. Oh, right. I'm curious about this. I think I may have stumbled upon a bit of a TE test disguised as an SI test. So I asked Al to describe for me how his local supermarket is organized, and I demonstrated. So you're walking in, and you go, okay, well, the pharmacy's off to the left, and then in front of that are the cereal and the dog food, and then past that is the refrigerated section with meat, and then to the right of that is the bakery, like that, okay? And he was able to do that more or less about his local supermarket. And then I asked Rachel to do the same thing, and her answer was, she basically described what it looks like when she walks into the supermarket for her. So she says, so you walk in and the cash registers are to the left, and then you walk forward and there's like the vegetables and there's some fruit, and then there's like potatoes over there to the left, and then she just sort of like got lost in the produce section. Like, there was no description of this is how it's organized, right? So I don't know, because it's like both of them were able to describe what they would see when they go into the supermarket, but only one of them really answered the question, describe what you see as in the frame of reference of how the supermarket is laid out or organized. Breaking off ties with toxic family, breaking off ties again. Hey, listen, you. I'm done. Your toxicity, it ain't no fun. Take it and put it inside of your buns. I haven't really talked to her a lot about the extent to which she visualizes things. I think she does visualize things sometimes. Because sometimes she'll say, like, no, I can see it sitting next to them, yeah. like when she's, I'm like, do you know where my meow is? It's not right or wrong, Al. It's just it's it's expressive of the extent to which you can handle an organizational frame of reference as cascading down and determining your answers. So when I ask, can you break a given thing down into 5 steps? It's not like INFJs can't do it. It's that they tend to not stick to that frame of reference. Like they'll slide away from it. But I don't want to argue about. I don't want to talk about your type anymore. About what type you might be, or this or that or the other thing. I don't want to play. But. Anyway, the point is, regardless of this particular individual, the question of how you remember spaces and describe them as sort of spaces that you can visually see to a third party when having that question framed through an organizational frame is one that seems to have some potential. Also, asking people what they look for as signs that somebody's trustworthy or not trustworthy, I think can be potentially revelatory too. I'm not sure how strongly either of these things would link to functions, but I don't know if there's anything definitive here, but I think they're interesting questions. Like, another question I ask, I think is interesting in general, is the question of, is it more important to follow through on what you say you're going to do, or to follow through on what you say you're not going to do? And a lot of people sort of reflexively answer it with what you say you're going to do. But then if I frame the question in a different way and I say, is it more important for somebody to is it more, which is worse? I'll promise I'll be there and then they don't show up, or I promise I won't do meow, but then they do it. Then people see it a little differently, right? So the relationship people have between concepts and particular examples is one of the strongest indicators I think we have in typology, ultimately. Because epistemologically, SI people are example first and concept second. And understanding comprises both being able to reduce it with TI, but mostly it comprises having a good, clear example of the concept. FI people will continually ask for, SI people will continually ask for examples to better understand concepts. It's not like other types never do that. Sometimes NI types do that, but whenever I don't understand anything, clearly what somebody's saying, I will always say, can you give me an example? Ali Shiva says, I feel like I can trust a person when they show some vulnerability. So, that's, that could be interpreted as a couple of things. It could be interpreted as FI 5th, it could be interpreted as FI 6, or you could be an FI type yourself and you're just saying, they're conforming to my operational value in your FI tool, you know. Regardless, for a type like me, I'm not really expecting the other person to display a lot of authenticity to me. Like, or vulnerability, I guess is the word. I just expect them to not be actively working against me communicatively or something. I can trust a person when they show some vulnerability. So in that case, if we were going to try to say that, if we're going to try to frame it in the same way, we'd say, okay, I can trust a person when they show some vulnerability. That would suggest the other person has FI, displaying FI, and I don't know. It You could interpret like Rachel's phone thing is the same kind of thing, right? It's a confusing question. I don't know how well it links to functions or anything, but you can certainly interpret Rachel's phone thing as the person's showing vulnerability in the sense that they're allowing the other person to explore without keeping an eye on them, you know. Yeah, what is showing? Yeah, it's a tricky question. When I start shutting down and not being able to talk much about something, we must be getting into FI territory. What exactly is showing vulnerability? I guess it's not trying to hide if something makes you feel bad, or not trying to posture or position. Uh, like going, well, yeah, you know, I sometimes I put in some really shitty stuff and I feel kind of embarrassed and bad about it, and you know, life can be hard for me sometimes as a creator. Like if I say stuff like that, which is true stuff, um, it's me displaying vulnerability. I'm I'm talking about something that's not positive about myself. It's something I genuinely struggle with. I'm not trying to position myself as perfect, right, good, just, or true, but rather I'm saying, well, here are some of the ways in which I don't have positive things to say about myself or positive thoughts about myself, you know? I kind of feel like I live media object to media object, you know? And if things are going well and being well received, then I get this general sense of, hey, things are going in the right direction. And if not, then I can start to feel fairly like morose about the world and kind of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? I don't know. You just have, I guess, stretches of just being, I guess, disappointed in myself and or yeah, being disappointed in myself. That's what it is. Being disappointed. I definitely have periods of time when I'm disappointed in myself. And I feel sad about being so stubbornly selfish regarding the parts of stuff I don't like to do, you know. I guess I feel bad about not having adequate resistance towards my F5, which just, well, squirrel. I do a lot of wondering, Winston's mom. Thank you for noticing. I got my degree in wondering at the university. I got my master's in musing and my doctorate in speculation. So I'm highly, highly educated in the fine art of wondering. I do wonder about things, it's true. What am I wondering about now? Yeah, I've been wondering a lot about aliens, UFOs. As far as ghosts go, I'm just not buying it, really. I just haven't seen anything very convincing about ghosts. That's an excellent LinkedIn bio. Or what, my little speech I just gave right there? Thanks, Winston's mom. You're the best. You're a wonderful community member of much value and worth. You believe in ghosts? Okay, well, I mean, the thing is, I would expect to have better or more kind of ghost videos or something. Yeah, the original's pretty great, right? I play it pretty different than the original, but I have it on my playlist. It's a good song. Spirits are real, huh? Well, this is, again, an SI thing, right? I've never experienced them, and when I look at videos and stuff, evidence that's designed to convince me of it, I generally am unconvinced. So in other words, the evidence I experience doesn't make me feel as though I've experienced something convincingly enough to know it from personal experience. And my TI says this is irreducible. So if you're relying on NISI, and I do have a desire to believe it to be the case, but that's not a determinant in the question. Yeah, that's the TI point, Jeremiah. Now, the thing is, UFOs are a different question. UFOs are not necessarily aliens, of course. Unidentified flying objects that display like capacity beyond that which we conventionally think to be possible by our current Earth technology, as most people understand it to be. That such things exist and fly around sometimes. There seems to be a fair amount of evidence of that. And that, it seems to be a little bit more convincing, right? So, and I also think that I find the UFO stuff more convincing in its personal witness tale, like in its eyewitness And it's eyewitness testimony. The testimony of eyewitnesses who have seen UFOs generally sounds a lot more credible and less magical thinking-y than does the testimony of witnesses of ghosts. So, and then of course, most importantly, with ghosts you have a fundamental definition problem. Whereas with UFOs, you either have no definition problem or you've got a simply, and you have to accept that you have no idea what they are. Because they're either aliens or you have no idea what they are. There's no reason to speculate at all, you know. With Sasquatches, you don't have any definition problem. Although, as you get deeper into it, most people who believe in Sasquatches believe they have various magical powers. That's an SI thing for sure, Eliana. And you are not alone in enjoying that fabulous experience. I like that a lot. That's a great experience. I haven't had it in a long time, but I remember having it before on multiple occasions and being like, oh yeah, but here's the thing. What do you have to watch out for? Zippers. Ooh, you don't want to put on zipper clothes straight out of the dryer onto your skin. You got to put on a t-shirt first, okay? Otherwise, that zipper will do what? It'll make you say, yow! Yowza! That's hot! That's what it'll make you say. So, just everybody be forewarned. If you want to enjoy the dryer thing, put on sweats and a t-shirt or whatever. Don't put on a zipper up sweatshirt. That zipper's going to leave a mark. You have a red zipper going straight up your belly, straight up your torso. So, you know, I'm always about safety first. When we talk about having an exquisite warm towel around here, Strawberry, we make sure to note, please don't use any zippered towels when attempting this technique. Yeah, the thing is, when I pick the horror movies, I should. And don't put on clothes straight out of the dryer that have a zipper straight against your skin, because you will burn yourself. Also, don't forget to wash behind your ears. A place a lot of people forget to wash. Worth noting. I don't know about other people, but for me, it definitely gets oily back there if I don't wash behind my ears. It's kind of like an oil depository. I think maybe it's kind of like a naturally occurring lake in the Sierra Nevada mountains where the oils of your face go down these wrinkles into your ear, behind your ear. Frank James is an INFJ. Jedi Ryan. Now you're sounding more like a Sith Lord. Don't make me shoot lightning out of my fingers at you. Because I will. A la the Emperor. I used a screen capture from The Fly. I didn't know that. If I did, it was an accident. I'm accidentally fantastic. How you doing, Eric? Oh, I'm accidentally fantastic. what's with the accidentally part? Well, I don't want to take any credit for it, you see. Why not? It was an accident. I was walking along, and it was windy, and this leaf blew up from the ground towards my face, and it hit me in the face, and I was like, wow, hey, I'm fantastic. But I'm pretty sure the leaf didn't cause me to be fantastic. It just triggered me realizing that I was fantastic. I'll tell you a horror movie. The Last Airbender. Dear God, was that shit terrible. I sat through the whole thing. And it was absolutely terrible. Every minute of it. Start to finish. I tell you what was terrifyingly fantastic. Pinata Island. Anybody here seen Pinata Island? It might be called like... I forget what its title is. It's not called Pinata Island, but that's basically what it should be called. Has anybody seen Pinata Island besides me? I think Jeff Goldblum is an HP as well. I also think so. He probably is. So, Pinata Island was that for me, Strawberry. It was actually on TV, and I started watching it, and I couldn't turn away. I'll try to figure out what it's actually called. Pinata Island, Demon Island. Okay, so. Also called Survival Island, also called Killer Pinata. So, Demon Island, also called Pinata, Survival Island, is a 2002 horror film with Nicholas Brennan and Jamie Presley. And here's the plot. A small, isolated tribe of cursed by spirits for their sins. One of the tribesmen crafts a clay piñata, which the tribe put their evil into, and then sends the object to float in the ocean. A group of college students sail to a remote island for an annual Cinco de Mayo treasure hunt. There, every fraternity boy is handcuffed to a random sorority girl. Each couple is instructed to collect as many pairs of strewn underwear on the island as possible. The couple that collects the most underwear and presents them to the judges, Monica and Paul, will receive $20,000. The groups consist of Jake and Julie, Doug and Carmen, Bob and Lisa, Larry and Connie, and Kyle and Tina. As the hunt starts, the pairs eagerly retrieve underwear, apart from Kyle and Tina, who have just broken up with each other. Bob and Lisa find the piñata, accidentally bringing the object to life. It proceeds to beat Bob to death with a branch while Lisa runs away. Kyle and Tina decide to forget about the breakup and join in the game. Lisa warns Larry and Connie of the piñata, but neither of them believe her and continue on their search. They pick up a shovel and get a bunch of underwear from a secret stash. The piñata picks up the shovel and crushes Connie's head before turning on Larry. Lisa goes to the camp and tells Paul and Monica about what she saw. The judges, unsure about whether they should believe her or not, go to look for Bob. While they do so, Jake and Julie see the piñata. And when Jake goes to open it, the piñata grabs him and rips out his testicles while he beats Julie to death. Paul is later killed as Kyle and Tina reconcile. A new group of Kyle, Tina, Doug, Carmen, and Lisa now leave when they see Bob ripped in half on a tree. Doug is hanged by the pinata. As Carmen and Lisa go back, Lisa takes a bathroom break right before Carmen gets her head chopped off. Monica finds Kyle and Tina. Lisa makes it to camp and thinks Larry and Connie are in there just before she's killed by the pinata. Kyle, Tina, and Monica kill the pinata by blowing it up with a Molotov cocktail. Originally, the pinata monster was played by an actor in a rubber suit, and the film contained no computer effects. After the final cut, computer effects were added to make the monster more frightening. It's just terrible. But, I guess it could have been worse. I watched the whole thing. It kind of had this feeling like it was made in 1982, even though it was made recently. You have an idea to get rid of the pinata, period, blood? Does that scare pinatas away? I didn't know that. Is that an old Mexican tradition? Well, I just went and got more toys from the store because we lost our various dolls. The thing is, what was funny about reading the plot is it sounds like a plot summary of a plot that was written by a 12-year-old, right? Like, what? And then they get killed, and then they go over there because they're looking for underwear, and they get killed, and then she's like, wait, I have to go to the bathroom, and then she gets her head chopped off, and then that's basically the plot description I just read, So what do you do when someone you're debating doesn't acknowledge your points? Well, I mean, you have to either just be stubborn and keep repeating your point and ask for a response on point, or give up debating them. It's a waste of time. I mean, there are some people in the world that they're determined to dissemble and or get their way and not engage on point or whatever. And you just gotta, I guess at some point you gotta start to try to shame them. Say, it's really wicked of you because you talk and you expect me to hear and understand your words, but you won't do the same for me. That makes you evil, bad, and no darn good. Made of cardboard, made of wood. You're no star. You're just a pud. What's it called in debate when the opponent keeps moving the goalpost demanding further evidence, more evidence? Moving the goalposts. The thing is, it's a harder argument to make. It basically, the only way you make that argument is to basically run a vagueness critique or something like that, because it's not like the opponent gets to determine whether or not the argument block is standing. Both parties are making that case towards the judge one way or the other. So an opponent might say, well, he's established his point with the following pieces of evidence that I haven't refuted, but it's still not enough evidence. But then you just say, well, the point is the block standing or not? I have 3 substantiating contentions, each of which has its own warrant and impact. They've all gone unanswered, and his only argument on the flow is that he wants even more evidence. Why would he want more evidence when he didn't even answer the evidence I gave him? How do you address vague points but they run away when you counter? Well, I mean, they're not wanting to have an honest discursive event with you. They're wanting to use language for some other purpose. And so at that point you need to say, okay, why do you want to use language? TI versus TE in a debate. I mean, TE in a debate is basically treating TI matters as purely modular. Like, it doesn't matter which arguments I make, I just need to have the most arguments on the flow and be the fastest speaker with the most well-organized set of ATs. So I've got all my evidence. I know what I'm going to read, when I hear what, and in what context, and I try to minimize the actual specificity of the argumentation or something like that. So when somebody's not treating language as a useful thing, that it's not there so that you can communicate and make progress about what is correct or whatever, then that needs to be the topic. You say, okay, why exactly are you using language? What do you think you're doing with it? And if you were to use it successfully, what would it look like? If they won't answer your questions, then right there, they're not interested in learning anything at all, whether they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter, They could be right in general and still manage to learn something, but if they won't answer your questions, that means they are actively opposing learning anything, because people who are very attached to their current frame or specific epistemology or belief or whatever, when you ask them a question, they say, well, where are you going with that? What do you want to know that for? And the point is, of course, I don't want you to know where I'm going with it or what I'm doing with it. I want you to answer it honestly without getting to know that part. That's the whole point, right? Yeah. So that you don't shape your answer to get the outcome you want, but so that we can remove from that your desire on that from the equation. But if they want to know where you're going with something, or they want to know why do you want to know that when you ask a question, they're fundamentally not engaging with you in an honest way. They're trying to control the outcome of the discourse rather than allowing the discourse to decide the outcome. And that's wicked, bad, and evil, because it's not my way. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. I'm out of beverage. Oh, Lulu, you so cray. My crayfish, he molted again. This is the third time our crayfish has molted. First time I got a crayfish, I don't know, we've had them for a while now. And, noticed that he had he's been doing some construction. So he's got his cave here in the front that I made. I set it when I set up the tank. I set it up so there's a nice cave right there in the front. It was perfect for him, but it was also making it so it'd be easy to see him. Well, sure enough, the cave was so perfect that he took up residence in there. And before he mulches it, what he does is he does this construction stuff. He gets the little rocks around and he closes up all the entrance to his cave so that nothing can get in or out, including him. Because during the period of time when he's molting, he's vulnerable. Like, I guess he's got like a no shell soft body or a very soft shell for a while until it hardens or something. And so if a fish were to get in there, it would start to eat him. So he closes up his cave. He closes it up with these little rocks. He picks them up and he puts them in the entrance to block the entrance, you know? And then when he's done molting, and he still has his shell in there, but he'll eat it a little bit by a little bit, or the snails will. It disappears after not very long. Anyway, when he's done, he moves the little rocks out of the way again. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You gotta enjoy that bit of fantasticness. Also, a fish went in there the other day, got into his cave, and he was grabbing it with his claw. It was pretty great. The fish got away, but it was pretty dramatic. And the reason the fish got away is because it was so dramatic, I wanted to get a little bit on film, and of course, if I get too close to the tank, then he shrinks back into the part of the cave that's further away from the glass, so he's a little bit shy. But he sure is a good crayfish. He almost died when we had him early on. If the water isn't of good quality, a crayfish is like a canary in a coal mine, kind of. If the water is not clean enough, the crayfish will try to climb out of the tank. And whereas if it is clean enough, it won't climb out of the tank. So I didn't know that early on. I didn't realize that there was this dead rotting plant in there that may be making the water smell bad, I guess. He climbed out of the tank, fell the 6 feet or so from the tank to the floor, and I found him like all dried out and almost dead in the morning, and put him back in there, changed the water, and he survived, and he's still ticking, So that's the heartwarming story of Lelouch, the crayfish. How warmed is your heart by this story? So warmed. How do you deal with family trying to pry into your business and control you? I don't really have that experience. So I don't know. I mean, my family is kind of, I'm in a different place in my life than you, I want to be a good son to my dad and all that stuff. My dad's a bit of he's a bit critical, but I'm in a different place in my life than you probably are. So, when I was younger, I don't know, I was kind of fiery sometimes. I'd get mad if I felt like somebody, and if I was being told what to do. Kiersey writes, the SPs want control but not commitment. Both flow state and legends fall take umbrage at the idea of control. I think it's not so much that SPs want control, they don't want to be controlled. And neither do NPs. I mean, like ENTPs, ENFPs, the action types don't want to be controlled. Uh-oh. Oliver's mad. No, I mean, in my 20s and 30s and stuff, and I, I mean, there were long stretches of my life where even though I was living fairly close by to my parents, I didn't see them very often at all, and I didn't really talk to them much, and we had our own lives, you know. So things are different now. I no longer am head of a household, my own house, raising a kid, and just seeing my parents when they wanted some grandparent type time or whatever. And they were always quite respectful about that. So I'm just in a different place in my life. I don't know who Eric Roberts is, but I appreciate your comment, James Carolus. Is he related to Robin Roberts? Ow, my arm. My arm feels a pain of soreness right here. Right there. This muscle right here. That's the one that gets you. That's the one that stabs you in the face. Oh, more fiery when I was younger. Well, more fiery with my parents, for sure. At a certain point, I stopped being fiery with my parents. Julia Roberts' brother, Eric, huh? Julia Roberts' brother, Eric. I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything. I didn't even know she had a brother. I thought she grew on a tree, like a fruit. Julia Roberts was a mutant pair at birth. I am insatiable with a partner, monogamous but insatiable as hell. I see. So, if I were to complain, I'd say I'm unable to sate this woman's insatiable lust. She's insatiable. I could fuck her for 48 hours straight. She'd still want more D. Insatiable. My Insatiable Lust. A one-woman play on Broadway. Elishiva, that's your dream. I want you to have a one-woman play on Broadway called My Insatiable Lust. In it, you discuss how your lust is Insatiable. You're INTP, she is ENTP, you can't break up with her, you've tried so many times. You've tried to break up with your girlfriend many times and you keep getting back together because she's ENTP and she says, I don't want you to break up with me, or what? If you really have tried to break up with her multiple times, you probably don't want to be with her. I was entering into my 30th hour of consecutive anal. I said to myself, I can't believe I still want more. That's the opening line of your one-woman play. Oh yeah? Animated, you say, huh? How about now? Pew! Oh, still animated. Okay. ENTPs are way back in. I don't know what that means. Like, talk to me about, like, what's wrong with a relationship? Like, what makes it fail? Why don't you like it? What could you possibly dislike about a wonderful ENTP? We're fabulous. I mean, are you sure you're not insane? Maybe that's the problem. Is that worse or better? And then I'm going to go like this. Pew, 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 pew. Is that worse? That's worse. Pew, 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 pew. How about that? That's not better. Well, it's whatever it is. I don't know. Pew. There. It's not 1 a.m. for me. It's midnight a.m. I'm sorry your ENTP is so difficult. She shouldn't drink. I'm in the regular West. The W-E-S-T. California knows how to party. California knows how to party. I just need to say to her, look, you're too much of a drunk, you're too much of a handful. I'm out. And like, I know, no, I don't want to talk about it anymore, okay? I'm done, girl. I'm done. It's just like, girl, you don't respect my deliberative ways. Just with the yappity yaps and the telling me this and telling me that. I got 2 words for you, girl. Here's the first word. Pew. Here's the second one. You. Like that. It's gonna be like that, You always say this and that and the other thing, but you know what? It's like 5 minutes later, it's back to the same old shit. Oh, sure, you're all full of emotions now, crying and all like, but I love you. You know what? You don't even know what love means. Goddamn ENTP. You say you love me, but really, You just love doing what you feel like doing when you feel like doing it. I've had enough. Okay, I'm an INTP. I'm still trying to decide if doing stuff is even worth even discussing yet. Meanwhile, here you're yammering on. But I just need to see it through your frame. Let you dominate the frame of reference again. Let you define the frame of reference. No, I'm defining the frame of reference this time, okay? And the frame of reference is you can take this relationship and shove it up your ENTP ass. There. Like that. Oliver's in Seattle. And Spencer's in Texas. So, that's a really long touchdown pass. That is extremely rude, Ali Shiva. I can't believe your housemates were smoking meth around you and didn't even offer you any. Tweakers, what can you say? Selfish bastards. Let's sit here among the squalor and smoke our meth pipes till tomorrow, and then we'll keep on smoking on through the night. Well, I mean, they're just being sober at a higher rate of speed. That's all. Oh, when I'm smoking that meth pipe, gee, how it's making me gag right. And I'm thwacked out until the next day, and gacking all through the nighttime away. Yeah, go ahead, pack another bowl in the meth pipe. We will smoke it, so we'll stay up and be like all like, yeah, and then. Oh, 'cause I smoke it so fastly. Nothing quite like that moment when you haven't smoked meth in a long time, and you go, all right, let me use that pipe, and you get it rolling, and you blow this big old. It's like, oh. That's some good stuff, let me tell you. That's a happy moment right then when that happens. Where's the guitar? I want to play the guitar, I think. First let me masturbate, then I want to play the guitar. Well, you know, I'm getting a little old for that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, I'm not recommending it as a lifestyle or anything. But, yeah, if something happens to show up in your hand one day and you go, hey, look at this. That sounds like a terrible sober house. Ali Shiva. They're not doing a very good job of being sober. You know? According to the rules on the wall, anyway. Wait. You mean I can't even smoke meth in here? Like, I get not drinking, but we can drink coffee, right? We can smoke cigarettes. And we can smoke meth, right? I mean, wait, no meth? What kind of sober house is this? How am I supposed to stay awake through those meetings? Ali Shiva, did you forget my rule about not reminding me about how depressing your situation is? Do I live with my dad? Yeah, I live with my dad. I live at my dad's house. Why what? Oh. Well, originally when I came back to my dad's house here, he needed help with my mom, who was declining into dementia that was ever more requiring of help, you know. She went from needing to be sort of kept an eye on so she doesn't wander off to needing to be toileted and stuff and lifted into bed and all that kind of stuff. And he's in good shape for an 80 whatever year old man, but he genuinely needed my help for some such time. So I was happy to. I had broken up with Kimberly and would have probably come back here temporarily no matter what, but I found it was like, wow, hey, I'm home. I've been here a long ass time, you know. Because I moved out when I was like 24 or something after college. I was here for maybe a year after college, then I moved out, and I hadn't been home since. When I broke up with Kimberly, and I came back, it sort of timed out right for helping with my mom. So, I mean, right now I do some online teaching stuff and typology stuff and, you know, type people, and I don't make a whole bunch of money or anything. I'm able to subsist on not a lot because I'm living here at my dad's house, not paying any rent and so forth. So, of course, the thing to remember is I did that whole regular life thing already. Like I was the head of household, working 60 hours a week at a debate program, and had my wife. She was also working full time, and we raised my daughter Delilah. And lived in the same house in Temple City for 20 years, doing that, you know. But I'm in a different spot in my life now, and I'm comfortable enough with who I am that maybe I'm too comfortable with who I am, so that in some sense it's holding me back to be so relaxed or settled in to just loaf in and being a YouTuber. But I'm not afraid of the critique or whatever. It's comfortable. It's nice. It's nice being around my dad too. And I think at this point, my dad expects me to be here until the end. I mean, yeah, I had a child and a wife and a house. I didn't own the house; we rented it, and two incomes and PTA meetings and all that shit. Yeah, and I was a successful professional with the title, and I was the director of the program. I was responsible for all the curriculum, hiring, firing, program architecture. I was the head coach of the debate teams. I was everything except marketing and owner. So, and we were very successful. So I got to have the opportunity to sort of have walk around with a certain amount of professional swagger and stuff like that. But I'm lazy, you know. What was that like? It had its own momentum that was, it sort of happened despite me, you know. The boss kept dragging me deeper into this thing until it was occupying all of my attention. When most, like I said, I was like working 60-hour weeks, and I had a lot of responsibility, and anytime shit went wrong, it was my fault, and people, and everybody expected everything to go right all the time, and usually it did, but it's like we didn't always win. Sometimes I fucked up occasionally. It was a lot of pressure, and the thing is, the parts of being a debate coach that I liked at a certain spot got overwhelmed by being an administrator as well. So I was still the head debate coach, but I ended up spending too much time doing administrative stuff, like being basically the vice principal of the school, more or less, and too little time being the head coach of the team, and it burned me out. The part of coaching I like was, or is, I mean, I don't really coach that much anymore. Um, I mean, you'd be better off being a private coach, because it depends on where you are. If you can help people, kids who are trying to win competition chess successfully win it, you can make a lot more money than if you just try to sell your program to schools or something. It's probably not a very good approach. But the part of the debate thing I liked was the scheming, like for football, like how we're gonna how we're gonna approach this topic argumentationally. What kinds of affirmations are we running? What kind of negations are we anticipating? What kind of negations do we? Yeah, well, that's good money, Spencer. I mean, the challenge with this kind of work, of course, is getting sufficient number of hours, right? So, can someone tell me a definitive test or key difference between ESTP or ENTP? Well, I mean, you can start doing a storytelling back and forth, or a poem back and forth thing, and you should be able to tell uh, in no uncertain terms um, which one's which. Like, you look at Aga's typing session with me, and I'm doing this poetry back and forth thing. you see two ENTPs, and if you see me attempt it with an ESTP, you'll see a marked difference. You kind of got to observe it, but yeah, a good NE test. To give a good NE test and to be good at giving an NE test in general, you kind of got to have good NE yourself. In fact, I mean, it really helps in general with testing to have good NE, because there are many occasions when I'll ask a question in a way that's lean, and the other party will seek clarification about the question in one way or another. Okay? So, right off the bat there, I'm being asked to generate extroverted intuition. In other words, to be able to say, in other words, meh, 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 meh. And to express the same concept in multiple different ways to try to get across to the person what I'm querying them about. Of course, part of the test is to the extent to which they need further clarification, what kind of further clarification they seek when I'm being perhaps sometimes even intentionally terse. It is the case that sometimes I'll express a question in a way that is purposefully too terse, too concise, doesn't really convey all the information the person needs, and find out where they seek more information, how they seek more information about it, or if they do. And that can be revelatory about type. I just learned the other day that I'm actually at quite high risk for ovarian cancer. Fortunately, I don't currently have ovaries, so I shouldn't get it, but if I should develop ovaries, then I've got something like a 60% chance of getting ovarian cancer. So, fingers crossed. It's a good reason not to become transgender. I've also been told by the doctor that my pubis bone is too rectangular. He says I've got excessively rectangular pubis bone syndrome. Or ERPBOS. ERPBOS. When you have a rectangular pubis bone, you run the risk of being accused of being a rhombus. Yeah, I would say INTJ female is more at risk for testicular cancer than an ENFJ female. But the thing is, what INTJ women especially need to remember is to massage their prostates. What if you have underaries? Underaries? What if you have underaries? Oh, right, of course. I forgot about underaries. Well, underaries aren't nearly as susceptible to cancer in general. Anytime you have a Vries cancer, it's almost always the ovaries. So occasionally you'll hear somebody's ovary cancer spreading to their underaries, but underaries are known as the cancer-resistant dark matter of reproductive organs. The thing is, what a lot of women don't understand is you need to periodically get up there and stretch your fallopian tubes, because they will collapse in on themselves like an old mine. So the way to do that is to get a air compressor that shoots that kind of compressed air. You get a thin tube, very long, like one of the WD-40 red things, and you just get it right up into the tip of the fallopian tube, and just a few quick blasts to open it up, let it breathe. You gotta let your fallopian tubes breathe. They're like a fine wine. Isn't that funny about ESTJs and their surprisingly intuitive and correctness thing? No, if you've got filet mignon in your fallopian tubes, you're eating with the wrong mouth. Are ENFJs more likely to lie themselves down to connect broken train tracks so the train can safely cross over their inert bodies? More likely than whom? I mean, the real question is, more likely than not? I would say no. More likely than INTPs? Probably. But, like, are they more likely to do that than get lunch at a diner? No. They're more likely to get lunch at a diner. Plato wrote in Timaeus that the uterus, becoming angry at remaining unfruitful, wandered throughout the body and closed up the passages of the breath, and by obstructing respiration caused all varieties of disease. Hey everybody, I got some news. So you know how Bob, Joe, Steve, you know how we periodically get sick and stuff, we get the sniffles, we get a flu or whatever? Yeah, we get it too. I've been doing some thinking. I'm pretty sure it's because chicks and their sexy parts, you know? I'm thinking it's the uterus. That does make a lot of sense. Ladies, get over here. We need to talk to you about your goddamn uteri. Alright? You either get them pregnant or you get us sick. That's the new rule around here. My pneumonia was caused by your fruitless womb, woman. Fruitless wombs emit pneumonia viruses. But I gave birth to a peach, a pear, and a pineapple last year. That's not the kind of fruit I'm talking about, lady. I'm talking about human fruit. Human babies. Human baby fruits. Okay, I don't get it. Do you want fruit or babies? Babies. We're calling them fruit as a metaphor. Okay. Start over. So, because I have no baby in my uterus, I'm giving you diseases? Yes, exactly. What reasoning did you use to conclude this? Well, because your uterus is restless. It's designed to make babies. It's not making any. Therefore, what do restless things do? Rustle? No, they do more than rustle. They wander. They wander about the body, causing changes. Have you noticed you don't breathe very well? I feel like I'm breathing fine. How about now? You're not breathing so well, are you? That's your uterus. It's moving around. Are you sure it's not your hand on my face? It's your uterus, goddammit. Now, right now, I suggest your uterus is probably in your shoulder. That's why you're not pregnant like you're supposed to be. Maybe I just have fibroid tumors. I don't. Stop talking Greek, lady. This is ancient Greece, the peak of civilization. If I say your uterus is wandering, your uterus is wandering. I just deal with it. You know, you chicks aren't allowed to write philosophy, so get back and, I don't know, do whatever chicks do. Go chat about your hair or whatnot. I actually don't chat about my hair very often. Well, what do you chat about? My crazy husband and his theories, mostly? Who's that? Wait, that's me! Hold on! Well, I mean, as far as I can tell, my uterus hasn't moved. Did you consider asking me if it felt like my uterus was wandering around? If somebody has gonorrhea who gives birth to a child, does the child have gonorrhea? And if so, then who cares if you get an STD at birth? Ravage. Well, I mean, gonorrhea, you'd think if the woman were getting any prenatal care, they'd cure the gonorrhea before birth. But in the absence of any prenatal care, and then maybe the child would have gonorrhea. They'd shoot it full of penicillin. It would cure it. You can also cure gonorrhea by fucking a dolphin, I hear. They've got curative properties in their blowhole. Oh yes, gonorrhea can be cured with the magic of penicillin. I've never had gonorrhea. But it does sound like sexually transmitted diarrhea. It's a reasonable conclusion to draw. I've never had it, but apparently it makes it hurt when you pee. From what I understand. The key thing is, if you want to avoid getting it, don't have sex with somebody who has gonorrhea. It's called thinking. It's called the thinking man's approach. New Groove, will you stop being so empathetic? Will you stop reading my emotional and physical state of being accurately? You know, what do you think you are? Some sort of Geiger counter of my ontology's weaknesses? Oh, Eric's radioactively revealing to us all with his affect, behavior, slowness, general tiredness, and meagity-mia that he needs to go to bed. I'm going to care about him and tell him that. Oh, New Groove. New groove, new groove, new groove, new groove, new groove. You're using your intuition, observational skills, and caring all wrong. All completely backwards. You're doing it completely wrong. You're not supposed to care about how I feel. You're supposed to listen to me tell you how I should feel and agree with me that that's how I should feel. Right now, I should feel very awake. I've declared it so. I've declared it to be such that I should feel very awake. And what are you doing, new group? Are you helping me to manifest the reality that is normatively preferable? Namely, me feeling very awake? No. You're observing a contradictory truth. And boy, you know how I feel about contradictory proof. Like this. Ooh. 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 You're gonna fix that one, huh, Jeremiah? I wasn't sure what to make of it. I am a bipolar, which means I have a lot of feelings in my emotion pocket, which is right here. My emotion pocket. Were the 2020 riots just a bunch of people with burning pee? I'm going to say yes. That's a fair description of me. Oh, wonderful kitty. I love her. I love her with my child emotions. So they call me baby pig poop face. I'm not feeling bad. I do feel good. At least I don't feel bad. You might say, I feel medium, like medium well. This is some up close and personal conversation. When I get right up on the mic like this, you can hear my very soul echo. Eric, how do you react to I love you? It somewhat depends on who says it. When Rachel says I love you, I say I love you too. Same with Delilah. The only two people who really tell me that. Kitty tells me that in non-verbal ways. Sometimes people on the channel tell me that. I usually say I love you too. And I say I love you a fair amount as well. I say it to Rachel. I say it to Delilah. Occasionally I'll say it to my dad, and he kind of rolls his eyes at me. That's not swishing. It's much more purposeful than that. That saliva is gathering in the staging area. Do I actually love them all back? Well, yeah. I do. I mean, maybe not the people on the channel who some random person says, I love you. I say, I love you too. I mean it in a somewhat different way, you know? I mean, no, when Rachel says, I love you, I just think, I tend to default to thinking she's basically like doing her job, kind of like being a good relationship partner, basically. Saying, Here's an update for you. Everything's fine. Decide with my feelings who deserves love and who does not. I mean, is love distributed based on deservedness? Like, I mean, I'm clearest regarding love about my daughter. I understand that emotion most clearly. You know, not about being about fairness, but being biased, but who should deserve it. I mean, but I don't love Delilah as strongly. I mean, she's the person I feel like. Okay, I can talk about that love most clearly. It's the least complicated kind of love. And it doesn't have anything to do with her deserving it. It's just I just love her a lot. I mean, I don't know. I just have a strong feeling, and I find her delightful. Yeah, she's ESTP. And I'm proud of her, I guess. But I don't feel those ways because she deserves it. You know, it's like that would imply that she could somehow behave in a way that would cause me to love her less. That wouldn't happen. How does FI compare between Eric and Eric? I mean, the thing is, a 7-slot function is an absolute value. So, in some sense, FI is more important to me than it is to FI sixths. Even if I have less clarity about exactly what it is, you know? I do recognize that I'm very self-indulgent and want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and don't want to do what I don't want to do when I don't want to do it, and very childlike in regulating that kind of FI matter, and childlike in experiencing FI as well, you know. Things make me cry easy, but then it's like a quickly passing squall, and it doesn't leave me with a lot of residual anything. Well, but then you wouldn't be not loving them, you'd be not loving somebody else because their identity had changed. You'd be not loving my mom's face. I do need to head to bed here pretty soon. I'm tired, like, like Captain Kangaroo during his last episode. You know, kangaroos are quite fast in their running. Well, I'm definitely a beta, show media, because I am not sleeping on no rocks. I definitely have moods. And I'm increasingly aware of how much those moods determine how I am, what I'm doing. But it's also that awareness helps me to be like, okay, this is just a mood. Don't make too much out of it, you know? If it's not a good mood. I'm going to be going into sleepy week soon, so that's that always correlates with a certain amount of darkness in my mood, because I'm recovering dopamine, and it feels like another cycle sort of wasted usually. Like I was hoping to get some things done this cycle and didn't. But in this instance, I have a serious plan, which I can fully intend to follow through on, more so than I intend to follow through on anything I say like this is a good idea or whatever. I do want to set the world record for longest continuous freestyle. I know I can do 40 hours if I'm fresh at the beginning of a bottle, post sleepy week, coming straight into it and get it set up properly. I can do 40 hours straight of freestyling, no problem. If I'm not constrained by any topic, I can set the world record in that shit. I was watching the Olympics today, and I was thinking how hard and frustrating sports are. Like how guys train, and they're in this. I was watching the Nordic combined, and this Japanese guy was trying to squeak out bronze medal for his team, the last one in the relay, and anyway, so you see these cross country skiers, and they're trying their goddamn hardest, but this guy from behind is going a little fast. He's got more energy, and it's like they've been training, but they're just not. They don't have it in them to do that or whatever. And I thought, it's like, man, there's nothing like that I could be best at. And I thought, wait, hold on a second. Actually, I'm gonna do that world record on that freestyle. I could do that. Well, I mean, drag. If my daughter made some bad decisions and had some bad stuff happen to her, and then I would it wouldn't make me love her any less. I would just feel stressed out about it. I love her a lot, and I don't find her a stress in my life at all. I have faith that she's on the right track and got her shit together or whatever. But love expresses as worry when your loved one is not well. I put in the 4 hours, which I said was the minimum I was going to do. And I have to say I was quite limited by the fact that I was trying to take everything to typology. Yeah, me too, Oliver. How old is my daughter right now? She's 23 or 22. 22. She finished college. She's transitioning into the workforce right now. She's gotten some interviews and stuff. But she probably will end up going to get her master's instead. She's going back and forth about what she wants to do, I think. She's got a little time to fuck around right now, but she finished her college degree. So, that's good. I'm proud of her. I love it when she comes around the channel and I get to sort of have her be herself on the channel, and she kind of speaks for herself. Like I feel like a proud dad because she's cool. I like her a lot, and she's not weak. It makes me feel emotional. Just she's not weak, and yet she's in no way a bully. And she's authentic and TI. She's got that kind of cocky swagger plus vulnerability thing that ESTPs have going on. I find it very endearing. So, but being FI polar also means I don't really call her anything. In fact, before I started this live stream, I thought about saying, hey D, are you playing World of Warcraft right now? I want to stream with you projecting your screen into Google Meet and me having that in my stream, and then commenting, doing play-by-play commentary on your World of Warcraft play. But I didn't, because I thought about it and it seemed like, well, I wonder if her internet can handle that, and it seemed complicated, and I was just like, fuck it. She knows how I feel about her like that. I tell her things. I mean, she knows how we're very positive with each other, about each other. Yes, as a matter of fact, the term satchel of helpful goods is from a conversation. Hi, Abraham Rincon. Is from a conversation that I had with her when she was younger, when she was a teenager. She was playing World of Warcraft, and I don't know, I walked up and said, how's it going in your game here? And she said, no, I just got a satchel of helpful goods. I'm like, satchel of helpful goods? I mean, that doesn't sound so bad. And she's like, they're not that helpful. So, I thought, well, that's a cool name for a satchel of helpful goods. What's the stream about? It's about different epistemologies, how understanding things reductively, like being able to parse it out logically, is different than resonating with things, finding things resonant, or things that make you feel as though you get it more, but it's not exactly argumentationally defensible or something. And then there's attachment or significance, how important something is to you. And then there's familiarity, how much you're already experienced with it working for you or familiar with it, how close it is to you, proximity to you. Yes, actual helpful goods, I got it from WoW. The rest of the words in the song are not about World of Warcraft, but I just thought it was epistemologies. Yeah, I did say epistemologies. Well, maybe I will send her a timestamped bit of video saying, a viewer told me to share my comments about you with you. If an INFJ and ENTP had a love child, what other type of them? I have no idea, because I don't think it works like that. I wish there were a nice, like, you add the first and the fourth function, subtract this, and you get to know. It would be great if it were like that, but it's not, you know. You're on the night shift. Yeah, yeah. You're on the night shift. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I don't think... I'm pretty sure children aren't born that way. Yeah, she's great. NI plus FI equals big accomplishments. Well, if you are talking about how knowing via those epistemologies manifests, it basically means you feel certain about something, or you feel a sense of resolution about a matter when it's resonant with you as universally true in a non-reducible way, and when that what it's saying is universally true is consistent with what's important to you. So, if poo's important to you, then it would be some universal truth about how important poo is to everybody. And then you think that, and you go, yes, that's my advocate right there. He's right on the money. If it needs to be an INFJ advocate, it will only be an INTJ, ENTJ, ESFJ, or ISFP. Of course, I remember problem admiration. I'm not a fan of problem admiration. Problem admiration is as it sounds like. It manifests as, yeah, but... Well, here's a solution. Yeah, but I want to admire the problem some more. So Drake says, so I could say NI plus FI is like knowing by instinct that the ongoing work upon something is done. No. That doesn't really have anything to do with FI. NI-FI plays out like this. When you know something's correct, it's because it's a universal expression of what you want to be the case. Yeah. Frequently, Abraham, I have what I call a colon blow. You know, when you don't have Adderall, you just need to get a little clogged up, right? And then you add it up, and you go like, oh, 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 oh. And then you get in the bathroom, it's like, oh my God, it played a match. That's not problem admiration, James Careless. That's, that's rejecting the reality of things or something. I don't know. Problem admiration is, God, I'm just having so much trouble dealing with this gosh darn company and this vacuum cleaner. Well, have you considered, taking the thing back to the store instead of just calling them? Yeah, but I don't, that's not going to work because, Well, have you tried calling corporate? Well, yeah, that's not going to work because that's problem admiration, because the person just wants to admire the problem. They don't actually want any solutions. They just want to complain. That would be fine on my tombstone. Fuck off, Shane Muggy would be fine. I was really happy to hear that Freeman kicked her ass at Stanford. Good for Freeman. Alright, I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. I'm tired of just being so yeah. But, I guess before I go to bed, what you described was basically being in denial of a reality you don't want to be the case. Which is like, okay, I don't want it to be the case that I can't both be in this relationship and sleep with other people. And so I'm going to continue to fight that basic reality. I don't know what that would be called, but it'd be called fucked up. That's what I would call it. Some fucked up bullshit. Hey. That is some fucked up bullshit. Please don't. Some what now? Fucked up bullshit. What song am I gonna play? going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Far from the city below, going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Drive those windy roads, mountain sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees. Mountain sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees. Going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Drive a winding mountain, sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees. Mountain sunshine through the trees. Far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine. Mountain sunshine on those trees. Up mountain. That's kind of nice. I guess for things that are shitty. Kind of nice for things that are shitty. My ass. You call those storms? Where is the rain? Those drizzles don't count, I drizzle more. When I pee in the sink, it's just the right height to catch a wholly undesired splatter. When I'm done, I'll go outside and climb a ladder. I will go up there and take me a bucket and pour water inside. I'll say, hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom. Hey, Mr. Cloud, won't you drop it from the bottom? Hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom of me. Well, pretty poor job. Pretty good job of sucking. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. Pretty good at sucking. It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow, nobody yet to show. Place the slabs below and let them go. They will start to grow. More years ensue, tears gnashing through. Holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true, eternally new. When the slope appears in charge today, but don't get caught standing on deck. The slope presents a fork, easy stopping short, too far along to turn around. Perhaps the better course was headed ever north. Now there's a fitter force, enemy ground. It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow, nobody yet to show. Place the slabs below, let them go. They will start to grow. More years into and tears gnashing through, holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true and eternally new. When the slope appears in charge today, options at large show other ways. Give each a chance now, once quick to check, but don't get caught standing on deck. Perhaps a better course. Fucking, I fucked up that song. I'm too tired to play any music. I'm in pure blast failure mode. There's only one thing to say when you're in pure blast failure mode. I can't stop failing. Every time I'm flailing, trying to realize something that's wise and good, something that resonates widely and personally, something that expresses a feeling or a thought or two, something for me and you, something that's rich and true, and not just stupid repetition, not just something random and admission to something worthwhile. But instead I seem to fail while I smile all the way. I'm still a failing as I'm whiling away my time and wondering if this will be the day when I finally stop wasting my time. Oh failure, come and visit me again. Failure is my oldest, bestest, closest friend. I've known failure since the day I was born, when I failed to complete that stupid ass form. That's the kind of thing that's been the challenge all along. I'm not necessarily sure I belong in this world that requires so much paperwork. I think I was born to be a jerk. The nice thing about decades of extra ringing bells of failure, one gets accustomed to the tone of mediocre and a not good enough. It's an ochre color that I don't want to include in this color palette at all. That's what they call fall. I mean fail. I mean failure. I mean failing. It's the thing you do when you are just constantly wailing your objections to the difficult ways of the world, complaining and admiring the problems of today, girl. Complaining and admire problems that seem raining, you are mired in them once again. It's not so fun. I'll admit that that's the truth, my friend. But such is life, you know. Let's play more Life is Shitty songs. Ready? One day you awake kind of late. You know problems await. You failed to meet some other party's great expectations for you. Oh, what now are you gonna do? Should I lie or tell the truth when I explain why I haven't met your expectations about this society? I'm stressed too, more perhaps than you, 'cause I'm not sure about these expectations that you're imposing on me, whether they're righteous, just help me to be free and full of the busts that are me inside of my head in the museum that I keep the lead, crystal, and pewter things within. If you love jazz and tinkly, tinkly things, you'll love this song. Go ahead now, sing along. Take a moment, please, to write a Yelp review about these highly jazzified chords. Fuck it out. I tell you, life's a funny thing, and then you die. All that hilarity for nothing? What was the point of it? All that hilarity for nothing. That's what you end up thinking when you're dead. What did I make all those great jokes for? I was just gonna die the whole time. Talk about a bullshit deal. I don't remember signing up for that deal. This is a song that needs some new words. I can't remember the words that I heard before when I sang the song how it went. It's easier to make up new words and vent about how it's heavy, the song that I sing. first know an hour ago, even though she was in the ancient bone, she would say it would be wrong. She'd already been here too long. Florence would say the words she said. She just preferred the ones in her head. She wears inside when if it's in. It's a really well put together guitar rhythm and melody. It's just, I'm not able to sing. All I'm able to do right now is fail in different ways. Let me fail this way, let me fail that way. Maybe when my pile of failure gets big enough, it'll look like a success. Probably not, though. But maybe. Probably not. But let's pretend. Let's not pretend for once. Just stop pretending your failures aren't failures, Eric. Embrace the inner failure that is you. Embrace the failure that is you. It's a demotivational poster. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lie. Gerald has a plot to get the margarines. Tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking how I want to call Christmas when the highway is burned to change that name. Why Gerald always thought there'd be chance enough to return to the work left if he get back to it eventually. But visions piled up, plans would interrupt. Eventually, an outline is back on the business, thinking changing fact list to list. How all the people wish out their name. Gerald knows he understands ever more clearly now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting. Gerald plays his part, and Gerald still knew it's too much to do. He had spent time on the underview, too much to rebut. Where now and what? Too much time spent nitpicking the skill with you. Gerald has a lot. Yeah, he's got a plot to get to margarine's most tastiest spots. He's got a good idea for a business, hoping to ask him to Christmas when the highway is burned to change that name. That was the strangest version of that song I've played in a long time. Reminded me of, I was back in Nam. Charlie was coming down on us hard. was rushed and made Balishnikovs. Dogs were going crazy in the pens. Yap, yap, yapping. Chauncey, get over here, bring the grenade launcher. His head was blown off right at that moment. That's when I said, Gerald's got a plot. And the plot is to get to Marjorie's tater tots. Well, you might call me a rambling man, 'cause I do a lot of thumbing and a kicking cans, but it's good to call me names. My daddy was a Willie Woodrow. I wasn't born and raised in no ghetto, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Don't want no hanging out living, don't want any party, anything to giving. I'm proud of Martin, got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I admit it. If you wanna get it, you better home and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. That's right. So I tell you what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna find me a wealthy woman in the line of work that don't take no diploma, 'cause I ain't got much to lose but loss to gain. You might call me a good time fella, but I ain't no black and I ain't no yellow, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no hanging out living, no part of anything they're giving. Proud of Martin, got a song to sing. I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Small town boy, been around a little, and I like guitar and I like the fiddle. That's the kind of soul it takes to fan my flame. I'm a blue-eyed Billy, beard and ready. I've got to work to be somebody. A white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Yeah, I don't want no ain't that living, don't want anybody, anything they giving. I'm riding, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hum and get it. I'm a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you got to hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. What thing is that you do? Wonderful things. Magical, wonderful things. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, struggles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving. Stay awake all night, and mostly voices say to give in. They'll try to sap your will to find. But whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten noise is sort of based on what I see here and also on what I avoid. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say, something to say. Something to say. What is that thing you have to say? The thing I have to say is this. Please don't forget to jazzercise before bed. You got to jazzercise before you sleep. Seek in your heart the jazzy chords. Let them take away you on board. Make you think it's a jazzy, jazzy, jazzy time. If you love jazzy chords, you'll love these. They're as jazzy as they can be. They're so jazzy and good and just like a jazzy, 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 jazzy bust. Listen to all the weird combinations. That means it's jazz. That's not a chord that makes any real sense. That means it's jazz. If you like jazz, then you must really like this song. It's got a lot of jazziness to it. Jiggly jazz, jiggly, jiggly, jiggly jazz. It's got a lot of jazzy, jazz, 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 jazz. Oh, Eric, I think maybe you need to go to bed, mister, rather than just playing jazzy, jazz, jazz. Right, yeah. I like Amy, so I stopped shitting on ESFPs. Now I'm shitting on ENTJs, mostly because they're too busy to care. So they're not going to really fuss at me about it. But if you would like me to be an equal opportunity shitter and shit on your type somehow, I'd be happy to. Perhaps your type likes jazz. Well, that's what's wrong with you. Jazzy, jazzy, jazz, jazzy, jazz, jazz. Jiggity jazz, 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 jazz. Yes, strawberry. Oh, it does. It defines them not just to the T, Boba Fett. It defines them to the S. Fuck. It defines them all the way to the R. And as far as you go, it defines you all the way to Z. As far as you can be defined. It's the last alphabet letter. Why do they get a bad rap, those poor EFPs? Maybe it's because they kick so much butt, they kick ass. It's like Ren says, grabbing my nuts and for what? Maybe it's because I kick so much butt, I kick ass. Is that coffee? Let me check. Yes. The answer is yes. ESFPs aren't really so bad. It's just like G's. They've got that big red sense of a certain self, unapologetically. Unlike me, who's on the shelf, ontologically, the difference between ESFP, ENTP, Dominique Young, unique and me. You could hear it in our lyrics, see. She has a song with lyrics that say, I'm doing it right, I'm doing it right, I'm doing it right. Whereas I have a song that says, I'm doing it wrong. Or I have a song that says, I think I'm doing this wrong. More big black wieners. More bulbous and billowing winches. More busty and billowing women. You say that in all seriousness, too. All seriousness. He brought out the 1/16 seriousness. He's like, nah, put it back. The 1/8 serious. He's just like, fuck it. 1-to-1 seriousness. I'm bringing out the all seriousness. I'm getting tired. I think I'll jack myself up on caffeine and go to sleep. Yeah. I like caffeine. It doesn't make me stay awake at all. Put it this way. It's no match for the Klonopin. More BBW. I want to put down BBW on my personal ad when somebody comes and they go like, I thought you were a BBW. I'll say, I am. I'm a bashful, boat-loving Westerner. Hold up, quick question. Would I have to book another sesh for an Enneagram typing? Did I already type you, but I didn't do an Enneagram test on you? No opiates. No, amphetamines, clonophenol weed. You're missing the one key thing. You got too many downers and not enough uppers. Maybe I put down on my profile BBA, Big Black Aspirations. I aspire to be BBC, I guess, you know. Are you that lady? That girl? I remember you. I remember you because you were confusing. Yeah, it didn't take too long. It's not very complicated. It's not really an Enneagram test so much as it is here are the 3 kinds of Enneagram things. Which one are you? Generally, people can get what they want by just asking for it. Some people are more bold about squeezing what they can out of me than others, you know. Speed and sex don't really go that good together. No. I can only think of one instance where I typed somebody ENTP, emailed them later and said, I've been thinking about it, I think you're ESTP. I can only think of one person that's ever happened with. I remember talking with Rachel about it. You stuck out. Because I don't normally have that experience of having difficulty telling between ESTP and ENTP. It's usually pretty straightforward. So, yeah, I actually do remember you. Morning, H. Good night, H. I'm not going to charge her. I'll give you an Enneagram test, it's fine. I don't want to do it right this second, though. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to bed right now. But you're not, though. You're still sitting here. I am going to bed, though. Watch. Watch how I go to bed. First, what do I have to do? First, I have to understand that I'm going to bed, okay? I think I'm understanding that now. Finally understanding that I'm going to bed. That's really important. Then after I understand that I'm going to bed, then it really needs to resonate with me that I'm going to bed, okay? So it's starting to resonate with me that, yeah, I'm going to bed. But after it resonates with me that I'm going to bed, I need to make sure that I'm really attached to the idea of going to bed, that I'm not going to change my mind, that I'm not going to regret it, or my feelings aren't telling me something different, you know. In this case, okay, I'm feeling pretty attached to going to bed. And then, lastly, I need to be familiar with the rewards I can anticipate when I get into bed. I am very familiar. I've been actually going to bed now for a full 50 years. Half a century of experience going to bed, so I am familiar with it. It's not too much of a stranger to me. So, since going to bed meets all these epistemological criteria, obviously that means I must be going to bed, because that's how life works. When something meets all the epistemological criteria, why did it edit my comment saying I need to find a hubby close to my height? I don't know. Is that what you said? Yeah, almost every day. Sometimes. Daily-ish, More daily than every fortnight. Alright, good night, sweethearts. It's time to go. I bid you adieu. I love you with my emotional heart, despite what Drag says, okay? Don't listen to him. He doesn't know about feelings. I know about feelings. I'm dripping with moisture from all of my pores. And what are all those drops of moisture? They're drops of feelings that I have for you. Strong emotional feelings of tenderness, warmth, love, affection, kindness, generosity, respect, admiration, worship, even. All of that. So just take that to bed with you and realize, wow, Eric really feels strongly about me.